Shalom, welcome to Parshat Wisdom from YCT. I'm Rabbi Dov Linzer, and I'd like to share with you a thought on this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha is the book of Shemot, a new sefer where we transition from Bereshit, which is the story of the family, to Shemot, which is the story of the nation. It's a shift from Bnei Yisrael, meaning the children of the man Yisrael, the man Yaakov, to Bnei Yisrael, meaning the nation, the people, the Israelites. And you see this in the opening verses. The opening verses say that these are the names of Bnei Israel that came down to Egypt with Yaakov. Clearly, Israel there means the person Israel, the names of his children. And then soon afterwards, though, you hear Bnei Israel referred to not as individuals, but as a people, as a nation. And it's interesting to note who is the person that actually refers to them as such. And the very first person in the Torah to refer to us as a people, as a nation, is Pharoah. Pharoah says, Hine am b'nei Yisrael rav yatzu mimenu. The people, the Israelites, are greater than we are. And lest they go ahead and they wage war against us, and therefore we have to act against them, we have to make these edicts against them. And that's a scary thought. It's the idea that our identity is defined from the outside, that our identity is defined by anti-Semitism, by oppression. And to some degree, this actually historically has been true. That when there has not been anti-Semitism and oppression, the boundaries between us and the outside world have been lower. There's been assimilation and intermarriage, and to some degree, we've lost our cohesion. More than that, often when you ask in contemporary society, when there's all these different degrees of ways of theological positions and questions of observance, how do people, what's their connection, how do they identify as Jewish? Often the answer will be through the Holocaust, through shared tragedy, through shared anti-Semitism, that what makes us an Am is sharing that sense of fate. And that's a depressing idea, that that's how we are defined, by the negativity, by the opposition, by the anti-Semitism. And what I would suggest is that there are different ways of terms that are used in the Torah to talk about us as a collective. There's the term that comes up in this week's parsha, which is Am. Am is just a people. There's nothing that defines it in terms of its identity. But then later in the Torah, you have a different word. You have a word of Edah, which is interesting, and most significantly, you have a word of kehilah, congregation. Lahakel is to gather for a purpose. People don't gather by accident. And kehilah is the key word that's used in the Torah in Dvarim about standing at Har Sinai, hakel et ha'am. It's also by hakel, right? Yom HaKahal, the day of the gathering. This is the day of standing at Har Sinai. This is a sense of us in terms of coming together because of a purpose, because of a mission. To use a term from the Rav and from Rav Kook, it is not just us as a shared fate, as an Am HaGoral, but it is us as a Am HaYi'ud, of a shared destiny, of a shared vision, of a mission. It is us as a kehilah and not us as an Am. And of course, there's a reason why synagogues are called kehilah kedosha, and they're not called Am, the nation. They're a kehilah, they're gathered, and they're gathered for a purpose. And I think that that's the challenge to us as a community. How much are we defined by boundary issues, by who's against us, who do we oppose, what makes you in the boundary, out of the boundary, who are the people that are monitoring and guarding those boundaries? That's one way of thinking about who we are. That is the very Am way, the oppositional way, whether we're the ones that are creating the opposition or somebody from the outside. And then there's the kehilah way, the kedusha way. What are we gathered for? What's our purpose? What are our commitments? What are our values? What is it that we are here to do in the larger world? And my bracha for all of us is that we move from not only from Bereshit to Shemot, from being individuals to being an Am, to being a people, but we move from the beginning of Shemot to the middle of Shemot, from being a people to being a kehilah, to gathering at Har Sinai, having a sense of service of God, of a life of Torah and mitzvot that defines our identity and our purpose in this world. Shabbat Shalom.